it. All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to How to Be a Mind-Blowing Motivational Speaker and Move Your Audience to Action. So I don't know what kind of speaker you are now, if you're a business speaker, if you're an inspirational speaker, an international speaker, but there's always room for more. There's always a way that you can blow your audience's mind, both by the content, by the love, by loving on them even more, or by what you might be offering them at the end. So that's what this is all about. Because if people don't take action on whatever the next step is, or whatever it is that you want to invite them to do, then nothing happens for them or for you. So it's really important to know how to get that, you know, that juice going to where they want to step up, take action, and get more from you. All right, so let me just, so I want to thank you for being here. Thank you for taking the time to come to this webinar and to just kind of hang out with me for the next hour and 15 minutes. It is a 75-minute webinar, so I hope that you can stick around just a little bit longer. I know we're trained for an hour, but really, if you have to leave in an hour, that's okay, I get it. But this information really takes that amount of time. So again, thank you for being here. So I just want to start. Some of you know me real well and some of you don't. So I'll just keep it really brief. I started out in corporate America. I didn't start out as a public speaker by no means, no stretch of the imagination. This was a building I worked in. I was a systems consultant, and right out of college, I went to work for a company by the name of Deloitte Haskins & Sells, one of the big 8 CPA firms. And my job was to set up financial accounting systems for small businesses on microcomputers, and that's what we called them back then. And then later I worked in this building. Anyway, so my boss came to me one day and said, Arvee, I want you to get out there and start speaking to tell people about this service that we're now offering. And I thought to myself, well, piece of cake, I can do this. I took one speech class in college. I was good to go. In other words, I thought I knew everything there was to know about public speaking. Well, I quickly learned that I didn't. I'm going to move some of my screens around because I didn't get any clients. I failed miserably. And one thing I learned is there's no do-overs in public speaking, that's for sure. So, but I didn't know what I was doing wrong. And then one day a woman came up to me and I was so thrilled. I thought I was getting better, and that's why she was coming up to me. And she said, honey, I hate to tell you this, but you say okay after every sentence. And I looked at her, and the only thing I could think of saying back was okay. But I got it in that moment, just like that I was the problem. That just because I could flap my jaw didn't make me a public speaker. And that's what so many people think today, right? That so many business owners, untrained business owners, think that because they can flap their jaw, that makes them a speaker, and it really doesn't. And so I decided in that moment, that was one of those defining moments for me, that I was going to master this thing called public speaking. So I went to the library, read books. I went to workshops, seminars, anything with the word communication in it. And I hired coaches and mentors to train me and to watch me speak and to give me feedback and advice. And it wasn't long before I would go, blah, 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 poof, clients. And I kept doing that. And I thought, wow, this stuff really works. When you do it right, it really works. And before you know it, my practice was full. I had started hiring other staff to do all the work. My bosses were pleased. I was getting promotions. I was getting pay increases. Life was great. And I did that career for 23 years. And then one day I realized that I was at the top that I could possibly be without being a CPA myself. I was a senior manager, and I had staff, and I had become a middle manager. In other words, I wasn't making a difference anymore. And in the beginning, I was blaze trailing. There were hardly any consultants when I first started that did what I did. By the 23 years later, the industry was full of them. And some not so good, right? And so I didn't know what to do. this was my degree. This was my livelihood. This is my 23 years. I had nothing else. And so what I did is what any smart girl would do. I prayed about it. And it wasn't long before God gave me the answer, right? And it was public speaking. And he said it like this to me. He said, teach others what I've taught you. And I knew exactly what he meant. So I left corporate America 15 years ago now. Yes, 15 years ago. And in the last 15 years, I've taught over 5,000 people, business owners, and just people raised, these were business owners, but the youngest I taught was 8 and the oldest I taught was 82. And most of them, yes, were business owners in between then. Well, even the young girls were an entrepreneur. They wrote a book and they wanted to know how to speak to sell their book. So it varies, the 5,000 people. But anyway, I've trained over 5,000 people. I've given over 3,500 speeches all over the world in 12 different countries. And I don't say it to impress you. Well, maybe a little bit. Did it a little bit? Maybe a little bit. But to press upon you that anybody can learn to speak. I am no different than you. The only difference is that I'm trained and that I take it seriously and that I respect the art and that I constantly get trained and constantly hone my craft and practice, practice, practice. But speaking is a learned skill and anybody can learn it. You can learn it and you're here to learn it. And I'm going to share more with you right now. All right. Okay, so let me get my glasses on. Let me go. Okay, so our goal for tonight is to have some fun. We're going to learn, but I want you to have some fun. So I'd like some interaction. So get ready to write in the chat box, if you will, because I'm going to ask you some questions as we go along. I really would love to hear from you and keep you engaged in the process. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up my screen right now so I can see people coming in. And I see Jenny and I see Diane. And Antone, welcome, welcome, welcome. All right. So I'll be able to see you and see what you write. So there's a little chat box. Just hover in the bottom of your screen and you will see the chat box. And I'll be notified anytime you share anything you'd like to share. And I'm just kind of moving my screen around so I can see everything. All right. So what I promise you is to have some fun tonight and have some interaction. And if you stay to the end, I've got a little prize for you, a little surprise, a little gift that you can have. And again, this is a 75-minute webinar if you did just join us. All right, I have a little chat. Let me just see who's chatting. All right. Okay, okay, everybody can hear me clearly, right? Okay. All right, so Victor's testing. Yes, okay, good. Now, I can make the chats are private, so you can talk to me in private, or I can certainly make them where everyone can see it. It's up to you. All right, so stay to the end. Now, what makes this webinar different from everybody else's webinar out there? Well, I'll tell you what. It's my experience. As I said, over 3,500 speeches, I quit counting, and over 5,000 business owners, and hosted over 700 live events. And I've got over 30 years of speaking experience, and of course, 15 years of teaching others. That's why I call myself the master. When you put in over 100,000 hours in anything, you are now a master in what it is that you do. All right, so during those last 15 years, I've done a lot of things right. Yes, yay. And I've done some things wrong. And so part of the learning is what did I do wrong so that you don't do it too. But one thing I learned about when I do it wrong is it always costs me. It costs me time, it costs me money, it costs me reputation. You see, there's no do-overs in public speaking, and that's why you have to learn how to do it right, because it can really make or break you. Not to scare you, but just you really want to know what you're doing and be well practiced. So after training business owners and entrepreneurs for over 15 years, and they include coaches, consultants, CFOs of companies, I've even trained several pastors of churches, and one pastor just recently that came to me wanted to make sure that his message was getting out, that he was persuasive but loving, that he told storytelling right, because he got that the storytelling was invisible selling that had opened the hearts of his listeners. And he just wanted to make sure his message was landing on the audience so that he can bring more people to Christ. And so we worked together. He joined my private coaching class. He's come to my seminars. And yes, he was very successful, but it wasn't long, probably 6 months, and he became a bishop of the church. So I'm not promising you bishopship, but all I'm seeing is you will improve tenfold of wherever you want to go with speaking. If you want to make a ton of money, you can do it with speaking. As a matter of fact, I was speaking on Friday at a women's group of 85 women, about 85 women. And this woman afterwards comes up to me, her name is Gail, and she said, Arvee, I did what you said. And I said, what? I've said a lot of things. She said, she took my class, and she says, I took your class years ago and I implemented it. See, that's it. She took action. And she says, I now make $60,000 a month. $60,000 a month. That's over $700,000 a year by implementing public speaking and doing it the way I taught her. I mean, that's huge. And a lot of people tell me that. They tell me that all the time. But this was recent. They're still telling me it's amazing. Anyway, speaking is a learned skill and anyone can learn how to do it. And as I said before, speakers are not born, they are trained. And by learning my proven systems on how to craft a persuasive presentation, anyone can learn it fast, gain the confidence, and look like a seasoned pro, even if you might not quite think you are yet. And everyone has a unique message to share. This is for sure. Each and every one of you has a message to share that only you can share to people that can only hear it from you. And that message will save somebody's life, their business, or their soul. That's how important it is. And I used to think that your message could be taken away from you and given to somebody else if you couldn't deliver it. And I realized that that's not true. That God has given each and every one of us our gifts, and one of those gifts is the message. And if you don't use your gift, your message, it will be unused for all eternity. And all those people that you were going to save or help, they go on suffering. The businesses that you were going to save die, right? They go out of business. And the souls, well, you know what happens there. So that's why it's important for you to take this seriously and step up. And the last one is business owners who are trained are crushing it and making a ton of money out there, as my student Gail. All right. Now, here is the problem though. Most business presenters just don't know how to build trust and rapport with their audiences so their audience trusts them and want to buy from them or want to work with them. They don't know how to give their audience an experience, and that's what audiences want today. Public speaking has changed over the years. So if you were like me, where you took one speech class in college, it's time that we take more training. It's time that you take training for you and get out there. And where we're at right now is audiences want an experience. They want that live experience. And third, how to use, problem is they don't know how to use persuasive language that sells. All right, so what happens is they end up boring their audience. And I know that's not you, but you don't want to be like that. You have to be able to look at your audience and see what they're doing. Are they on their iPhones? Are they, texting? What are they doing? Are they paying attention? If they're not, then again, this is a perfect example of not doing the right thing at the right time. Now, I made over $100,000 in a weekend multiple times. I don't say that to brag, well, maybe just a little bit, but to impress upon you that anybody can do that. Anybody can do that. I didn't have to use smoke and mirrors. I didn't have to be salesy. I didn't have to use, things that hypnotize people and hypnotize the audience. I didn't use any of these. What I did, now I'm not saying you're going to make 100,000. I'm saying that is possible because I've done it multiple times. But what I am saying is I did it by this simple strategy. Speaking on other people's stages, or think about it, speaking in other people's rooms. It could be a chamber room, a networking room, and then inviting them to take action and getting them into my room. And that's what we're going to talk about today, taking that action. But that's how I did it. Every time I speak, I do it today. I give them, I do a giveaway, I get some way to gather the business cards, build my database. That's why you were all here. Most of you have heard me speak at some time in your career, or my career. You know, some of you have been around for 15 years or not, but that people will do that for you too. They will want to be around. They will want to hang out with you. All right, so these are a couple of my audiences, just a few of them out of the 700. So how did I do that? I did it by loving on my audience. So it's not just a matter of giving a raffle. I did it by loving on my audience. I did it by providing great content, not smoke and mirrors, not salesy stuff, not, you know, all this, you know. You can tell a good speaker by how many notes you take, right? If you end up where there's not one note, it means that they didn't give great content or something that was valuable to you. And then inviting them to get more. That's what you always want to do, is invite your audience to get more of what you're giving them in that 30-minute talk or that 20-minute talk. All right, so 6 steps. We're getting right into the main content now. 6 steps to becoming a mind blower speaker and moving your audience into action. If you know me, like some of my students do, you know that I love acronyms. And so whenever I speak, I use acronyms. Now, the reason I use acronyms, all right, Gina has something to say. Okay, okay, good. All right, I'm glad you can hear me. All right, perfect. Feel free to chat in the chat box anytime. We have another Sherry here. Welcome, Sherry. All right. So why do I use acronyms? I use acronyms for my audience because my audience is curious and your audiences will be too. What does the A stand for, etc.? I use it because I can remember. It's a memory jogger for me, so I don't have to take notes. I just have to think of the word, and then I know what I'm going to say for the word. It builds curiosity in the audience, so it's a win-win. So if you can ever use acronyms, use them. And I teach my students in my classes how to put an acronym together and how to either start with the acronym and fill it up, or how to have what you want to say and have it fit in an acronym. And it's a lot of fun. All right, so now what real big, first question we're gonna have, this is participatory. So what is your biggest challenge when growing your business? Is it A, generating leads, B, closing clients, C, your competition, or D, cold calling, or E, none of the above? So go ahead and write in the chat box, what is your biggest challenge when it comes to your business? All right, what is your biggest challenge? And I'm going to take a look at the chats. All right, what is your biggest challenge? Okay, leads. Tim said generating leads. Okay, B, closing clients. E, A, generating leads. And Victor says E. All right, Victor said E, and B, closing. All right, so the answer is, and Victor was right, it is E. When you use speaking to become the expert with powerful influence, you'll never have to waste your time doing any of these things again. How cool is that? Say, that's cool. Awesome. And that's what we want to get rid of. We want to get rid of, worrying about competition, cold calling, closing time. I say upstage your competition. Upstage them by speaking, because I can guarantee you they're not out there speaking. Speaking will give you the visibility that you need in your business to get more business without having to pick up that phone, without having to eat that rubber chicken network meeting after network meeting. So it's really exciting. So good job. All right, so 6 steps to become that mind-blowing speaker. We're spelling out action. So the first one is audience language. You need to use the audience, the language of the audience. And again, this is taking you from a mediocre speaker to a mind-blowing speaker. One that speaks as if they're in that industry. Excuse me. So here's how you do it. And I do this before every speech. I'm going to get a little glass of water here. If you are speaking in front of a real estate group, you need to talk their language. If they're selling commercial real estate, they talk about doors. If you're selling out to residential, they call them clients. whatever it is, you need to do your research. You need to call up your real estate friends. You need to ask them, what is the language? You need to go on websites. You need to find out what is their language. What is it that they need, right? What is it that they want the most? I recently spoke to a group of hairstylists, right? A big group of hairstylists. You know, they have conventions, and they're really interested in getting, you know, butts in the chair. That's what they call it. They call them clients too. But you want to talk as much jargon as you can to not only relate to them, but so that they feel like you are one of us. Now, it's very important because I've seen some speakers that step out and then they come out and they say, well, this is a 60-minute speech, but I only have 30 minutes. So I'm going to talk real fast. Well, you know at that moment that they did not tailor that speech. You need to tailor the speech, not only for your audience and use their language, but tailor it for the time allotted to you. And so right away, that's an insult to the audience, and it's an insult to who invited them. Because what they're saying is, hey, your president, you know, cut my hour talk into 30 minutes, right? So you don't want to do that. Whenever you're working with your audience and building that rapport, everybody feels it. It's one person. Your audience is no longer multiple people. Think of it as one connected body. And what you do to one person, everyone feels it. So when you smile, they feel it. When you're you know, reprimanding or doing anything that might be a negative, everybody feels it. So just know that, and always love on your audience, and always tailor your speech for them and use their language, not yours. Compliment your audience consistently. This is part of building rapport. You always want to compliment them. You've been a great audience. You look great today. You're all dutied up. How you feeling, right? Call them by name. Everyone loves that. Everyone feels that. If you don't know their name, this is why I always recommend the speakers to get there early. Learn just a few people. If you learn just 5 names out of 25, you can use it to build rapport. And what happens? Everybody feels it. You just call Debbie, and you know, Joe and Nancy and John will all feel that same love and that same rapport back. So always compliment. Say thank you, please, right? So would it be okay if I shared a little bit about myself? Thank you. Always use the niceties. All right, the T is for trust and rapport. We already talked a little bit about the trust by calling their names, but there's a lot of ways to build trust and rapport with your audience. And that is one of the first things you want to do in the beginning of your speech. And what I teach people is a speech sandwich. So if you have a sandwich, think about it this way. If you didn't have the top piece, which is what I call the trust and rapport, what happens to the sandwich? You can't eat it, falls apart. So the audiences give up. By the same token, if you don't have the bottom, that's your invitation or your close. If you don't have that, the whole speech falls apart. And everything that you gave them, everything you did is for nothing. And you might as well have not wasted your time or their time. So you want to make sure that you have a well-balanced, well-crafted speech of, you know, equal parts, not meaning the equal bread meat, but you know that you have the 2 pieces of bread and you have that meat in the middle. So one of the best ways to trust rapport right from the beginning is, again, love on your audience. Thank them for being there. Most speakers thank their audience when. Write it in the chat box. When do most speakers that are untrained and untrained by me thank their audience? Think about this now. Just write it in there. Write it in the chat box. If you can't find the chat box, just hover the bottom of your screen and it will pop up for you. Yes, very good. At the end, that's unanimous. In, yes, they go, thank you, and walk off stage. You don't want to do that. You want to thank them in the beginning, really genuinely. Not thank you, that doesn't mean anything, but thank you so much for being here. Thank you for whatever trouble that it took, the time that it took. Really recognize and be in the moment. Be natural, be sincere. That's not something you're going to rehearse. You know, just kind of feel it and just really be in the moment and say, thank you, I really appreciate it. Not thank you for coming in here and me speak. When you're in rapport, you never make it about you, because now you ruin the rapport, except right at the end of rapport, like the 5th step. And that is your story. You're going to share with them your story of why they should be listening to you and earn the right to be speaking about your topic. That's what people long for. Like, they're thinking, why should I listen to you? Who are you? So we're just going to share it right up front. Here's who I am, just like I did. I have all this experience. I'm not saying it to brag. I'm saying it so you'll know a little bit about me and know that I'm not a new kid on the block, that I've got some experience. And that's what you want to share, your experience. Now, when I talk about the professional story, I'm not talking about personal story going way back, to when you were born or how you grew up or, whatever happened in your family. That's not the place. This is for business, how you got into doing what you're doing. So Victor, who is here, and I know he's a lawyer, how did you get it to be an attorney? What happened in your life that you decided to go to law school? Was there an event that happened, or was it something, one day you read, you saw something on TV or you read something, you just went, that's for me. Or maybe it was your dad. It doesn't matter. What matters is people want to know how you got there. Now, people love mess to success stories. They love, rags to riches stories, all that. So if you have that, please put it in. But again, they want to know, why should I listen to you? And they want you to earn the right to be speaking about your topic. So that's another way to build rapport. And then we talked about, calling people by their name, saying please, saying thank you, complimenting them. All of that builds rapport. All right, and the I in action is invite them to take the next step. Invite them to take the next step with you. This is so important. And this is, some people call it a close, but I call it an invitation. And I apologize for that. I meant to unplug my phone. But I call it an invitation. And it's an invitation. Let me just turn that off. All right, we'll just turn that off. Thank you. All right, stop. Okay, so it's an invitation to do business, to take the next step with you. Now, think of it this way. Let me see. There. Okay, think of it this way. If you want to create change in your audience, in your clients, in your prospects, in your family, that takes time. It takes a series of time sometimes. It doesn't happen in a 30-minute speech. It doesn't happen overnight. If you're going to create change, if you're a coach, consultant, and you're saving a company from bankruptcy, that's not going to happen overnight. Same with if you want to lose weight, same with if you want to quit smoking, same with if you want to be a speaker. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes time, over time. So you want to provide them with a workshop, with a seminar, with a coaching program, whatever it takes, or maybe there's 2 or 3 different coaching programs, and get them into something that's long-term. Maybe it's 3 months, maybe it's 6 months, maybe it's a year. And that'll create the transformation, real, true transformation that creates permanent change. And that's what people want. They don't want to quit smoking for a day. They want to quit it for their lifetime. They don't want to have a successful business for a couple of months. They want that ongoing so they can sell it, etc. So you want to make sure that you give them an opportunity to create that permanent change that they so really want. All right? So invite them to take the next step with you, whatever that next step might be. Provide overwhelming value. So much value. Now, can anybody hear that knock? If you can hear that, let me know. Because if you can hear it, can you hear it? Well, excuse me. What I'm going to do is my dogs, I'm going to introduce you to them. All right? All right, babies, come on. Come on. Okay. So come on. Come on. Okay, she's going to be shy. Come here, Zeus. Okay, come on, babies. Some of you have been here and you know my puppies. So I have 2 boxers and they're always a little bit, they want to be with me. What can I say? So maybe a little bit later I can get one of them to come up. All right, so overwhelming value. Think of it this way. Whatever you normally give people, give them more. Whatever your competition is giving, give something different. Whatever the latest trends are, give people that, because you could be the first. You could be the trailblazer, because your competition may not be doing that. Your competition may be giving the same old, right? That everybody's heard over and over again. Dare to be different. Don't worry about giving the good stuff and they're not going to work with you. No, you give the good stuff and they're going to want more, right? You give the good stuff and they're going to want more. So don't be afraid of that. Give overwhelming value. And I always have people that tell me that I over-deliver and that they figured because I've over-delivered that I've got more. And they're absolutely right. And so do you. We all have more, and you've got more, and it's okay. You're not going to solve the case without getting paid, obviously. You're not going to give them your formulas without being paid, but you are going to give them the benefit, the truth, and all the reasons why they need to move forward with you, and give them the reasons why. Okay. Now, the N stands for naked authenticity. You want to be a mind-blowing speaker, you've got not to be naked, no, but you have to be nakedly authentic, and that means to be real. That means to be who you are, and that means to reveal some of yourself and maybe become a little vulnerable as well. Now, it doesn't mean to come on stage and use your stage as a healing platform. No, you want to heal out there and then come on stage and heal others with your words and with your story. But what it means is whatever you believe in, it's time to bring it forth. It's time to bring it to the stage. So, for example, if you are a man or woman of faith, it is okay to bring it to the stage today. Being politically correct, addressing your audience like the source or whatever, higher power or whatever you want to call it. And if that's not what you believe in personally, then don't say that. You bring what you believe personally. And if you believe in God, bring it to the stage. You're not preaching. I'm not saying preach outside of the church. I'm saying you just tell people who you are. You be nakedly authentic. And if you like golf, tell people. I'm like, already, I love dogs. I've got 2 big boxers here that are a little shy right now. I love dogs. And then every time I speak, people will come to me at the break and show me pictures of their dog. Instant connection. And that's exactly what you want. So whether it's God, dogs, or golf, right? Tell people. Bring in stories about how you golf. Bring stories of what happened on the golf field. Bring stories of when you went up on a hot air balloon. Whatever your deal is, it's okay to bring it to the stage. You won't offend anybody that is supposed to be your client, because like attracts like, not the opposite. That, not in business anyway. So you want to make sure that you share who you are, so that people can decide based on your word whether or not they want to work with you. And by doing that, you will eliminate all those blood-sucking vampires that you might have attracted accidentally in the past. And you know what I'm talking about? The ones that steal your time and don't want to pay you, the ones that call you and take up your time that way and never intended to sign up or buy from you. You won't even attract those kind of people anymore, because they're not who you are, because you don't do that to people, right? And neither do I. You're going to attract people that are more like you. So just be you on stage, be real, be nakedly authentic, and you'll see what happens. You will attract your ideal client, and they will love you, you will love them, and you'll even become long lasting friends. All right, so that's action. Now, another quiz. Adding public speaking to my business will provide me more flexibility for my business. True or false? True or false? Go ahead and write in the true. Okay, we have some that say true. Excellent, true. A, true. Beautiful, thank you, Victor. All right, good job. Excellent, good job. I'm just seeing if anybody I didn't introduce was here. Okay, thank you, Sherry. Awesome. All right, it is true, absolutely true, that people buy from you. People can't buy from you if they don't know you exist. And you don't want to be the biggest kept secret, especially nowadays. I mean, with social media and everything going on, there is no reason why you can't be more known. However, having said that, social media doesn't quite kick in as well and as fast as speaking in front of a group. So I'm talking about going out and speaking once a week to a group of 25, which means you're in front of 100 people in a month, and doing that at least 10 times out of the year. And that's how Gail did it, the gal I just told you about that earns now $60,000 a month, because she does it consistently, just like I do. Every single week she's speaking. Last week I spoke 3 times, and not 2 groups of 25. One might have been 25, but the other was 85, and another was 30 or 35. So that equation will go up as you speak more or get in front of more people. So that's what you want to make sure that you do. Speak as often as you can. The problem with a lot of business speakers is they're not doing it enough. They're not picking up that momentum. So you want to make sure that you keep your momentum. All right. Let's continue. Now, this is Pete. Pete is a bookkeeper. He's my bookkeeper. Bookkeepers are not known to be eloquent speakers. And this is just to demonstrate how it works, and it works for everyone. And that is, I taught him. He came through a seminar, $1 Million Speaker Summit, that I'm going to share with you in a little bit. And he went to the training, 3-day training, went out there and started speaking, blah, 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 poof, clients. He got 8 clients that day speaking at a chamber meeting, an Upland chamber meeting where I'm from in Upland, and he killed it. And I asked him later, because he came in to do my books, how many clients did he get and what does he think it translated to? He got 8 clients that day for tax returns, and some of them even opted for bookkeeping and some of his other services. And when I asked him, well, how much money do you think that translated to? He couldn't even tell me. He just said thousands, because most people don't change their tax person, right? Think of the last time you might have changed your tax gal or guy. It's ongoing. So the life of the client. So when you're thinking about getting a client and going out there and speaking, learning how to do it right, generating the lead, turning it into a client, think about how much money that one client is worth to you. And then, like, is it 5,000? Is it 10? And then put a 0, because the 0 will represent the life of the client. Because sometimes we just don't know the life of the client. But you treat your clients right, they'll keep coming back. All right, so that's Pete. If he can do it, anybody can do it. So what is the biggest mistake that you've done or have seen done by a speaker? Is it using notes, not knowing their message, no call to action, no stories, or none of the above? Which one is it? Go ahead and write that down. I'm going to close my office door. All right. So in the chat box, no call to action. C, no call to action. D, no stories. All right. Using notes for the whole thing. Right? Okay. And all right. Okay. Anybody else? Not knowing the message. Yes, Sherry, why does that keep going back there? That is critical. Absolutely. But let me share the answer with you. It is E. When you learn how to speak right, you'll never have to worry about any of this happening to you. You won't have to use notes, because I teach people a way not to ever pick up a note. Not knowing your message, yes, you'll know your message, because I teach people that you have to rehearse 1 hour for every 2 minutes of speech. That means in a 30-minute talk, you need to rehearse how many hours, write that down. In a 30-minute speech, if you're doing 1 hour practice for every 2 minutes, how long should you be rehearsing your speech? How long? Go ahead and write it in the chat box. Take a guess at it. That's okay. It's a 30-minute speech. If it's right, Victor, 15 hours. Most business speakers, you might be blowing your mind right now. Most people might practice an hour. That's it. And you know what? It shows. If you practice 15 hours on your, what I call your signature talk. That's the talk that sets you up for business, that you give over and over and over. And some of you have seen my signature talk. I adapt it to the audience and I use their language, but it's basically the same one over and over. So the first few times you're going to practice it 15 hours, but after that, you're only going to need to practice it, 5 hours and then 2 hours and maybe 1 hour. But I always practice sometime before I go on stage. So also call to action. You'll know, again, being trained by me, you're going to always have a call to action. Now, there are several different calls of action. See, you can't use one. You can't know one call to action. I teach people 6 different calls to action. And not everyone fits every speech. It depends. How long do you speak? Like, let's say 5 minutes. Well, that's a whole different call to action. And I taught this to a client of mine, Adrian, and she spoke for 5 minutes at the Claremont Chamber. And Victor, I think you're still a member of the Claremont Chamber, spoke for 5 minutes and poof, she went blop, $5,000. And what she was selling, she didn't sell it because, again, that wasn't the close. It was a different kind of close, but she attracted one client and sold a $5,000 kitchen design, right? Back in the early 2000, right after the big crash. So 5 minutes, bloop, $5,000. I don't know about you, but I think that's pretty good money, good return. It paid for her class and all of her training, tenfold. So this stuff really works. So there's different closes for different amounts of time, different audiences, and different topics. So it's not all about selling from the platform. There are literally 5 different closes that you could do that would fit that particular audience and the time and whatever it is you want them to do next. So just know that. And in this training I'm going to talk about in a few minutes, the $1 Million Speaker Summit, I teach you those 6 different ways to do that. All right. This is Hector. Hector thought that he could speak because he had a voice, right? And he thought he could go out there and speak without training, which so many people do. And I have made that same mistake in corporate America as well, until that woman told me differently. Anyway, so Hector thought he could speak, and he went out there and failed miserably, and he couldn't figure out what he was doing wrong. And so finally he came to me, went through my $1 Million Speaker training, and voila, he was doing the wrong close for the wrong audience. And so once he got the right close, he went blah, 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 poof, $4,500 in his very first speech. Now, Hector is very, very special because he really had a big heart, and he wanted to help the Hispanic people speaking in Spanish to be better salespeople, teaching sales. So his whole deal was upgrading their standard of living in their life. So it was crucial for him to be successful and to get his message across and get them trained as better salespeople. So it's really important to him. Now he's crushing it because now he's putting on his own events. He just came out with 2 books written in Spanish. I can't tell you I just saw it on Facebook. I can't tell you what the title is because it was in Spanish. And he gives seminars now, sales seminars to the Hispanic market in Mexico and here. It's amazing. He's crushing it, helping to change lives. So if you want to change lives for a living, it's really simple. Just get trained. And in a few minutes, I'm going to share with you an event that you can come to and get trained. All right. So one more question. Always have a Q&A at the end of your talk, true or false. Always have a Q&A at the end of your talk, true or false. Okay, Jenny says false. All right, great. All right, no, thank you. Colleen says false. Victor says be false. All right, well, all of you are pretty sharp here. You must have been to a lot of my training. You've all said, yes, it's false. Only have a Q&A if you have a difficult topic, like say something like reverse mortgage, and you're in your own room, because that's the only way you can control the Q&A. Q&A was an old model from the old days. This is not the old days. Audiences have changed today. They don't have the patience. And so what happens in a Q&A today is you're going to have some bozo in the back of your room trying to ask a question, but really just positioning himself as some expert, taking your time away toward the end of your presentation. Now, here's what I tell audiences. When someone's up giving a speech, it's not a conversation. Right? So when audiences, and this has happened in one of the rooms that I was in, and one of my students was speaking, and she was speaking, and then a guy thought he could chime in, right? It was a small group of 25 people. And so from the sideline, he starts to talk, and then she talks back, and then she forgets her place, and she goes to the end without ever giving the meat that's in the middle. And so I knew her acronym, and so I said her name. I'm just going to call her Mary. So I said, Mary, I said, aren't you going to make us aware of something? And that was enough to trigger. And she went, yes. And she went to the meat of her presentation. She turned a 20-minute speech. It almost was going to be a 5-minute speech. And it's because somebody from the audience tried to have a conversation. So as the speaker, if someone wants to pull you into a conversation, do not go there. Just smile. Maybe hold up a finger and keep going. Don't even look. When people raise their hand, if I'm in the close, I ignore them because that's the biggest way to get them off guard. Not them off guard, you off guard, because you're in the flow. It's like running a marathon and then all of a sudden somebody slips, a used tire in front of you. You're just gonna, fall down and fall over it. So it's not a conversation for you as the speaker or if you're even in the audience. Just be patient. If there's time for a Q&A, your speaker will give it. If not, go and talk to them afterwards. Now, as a speaker, we don't want to do Q&A because not only because that bozo will try to steal our time or somebody might want a conversation, but because we want to use speaking as a magnet. So if you just tell people, listen, you can come at the end of my talk and ask me anything. Whoops, sorry. I'm getting all excited over here. And so I'm having my PowerPoint take off for me. All right, so it's doing it automatically. I didn't even touch it. You saw my hands were right here. All right, I'm not touching it. Anyway, your audience, you want your audience to come and talk to you and ask you that question personally at the end of your talk, because guess what? If they come to you at the end of your talk and ask you a question, you know that is a potential prospect because they took the time to come and talk to you. You were magnetic enough to pull them out of the crowd. And that's why you don't want to have any Q&A. That's the reason. And that's what I teach people, right? That's the new trend. So it'll sabotage that from happening. Now, of course, if you're in your own room, you got them in your own room already. Have as many questions as you want because you can control it. I'm talking about when you're a guest, you're at the chamber, you're at a networking meeting, you're not in control of the time or the meeting. Then don't have it. Instead, invite them to come and speak to you and ask questions after your speech. That way you can give more content, more value during the speech. All right, so, okay, wait, oops, my gifts are going. Hold on. All right, so let me go back. Okay, now so here I am. So here's the recap. So again, audience language, compliment your audience, build that trust and rapport, invite them to take the next step with you, provide overwhelming value, always be real, what I call naked authenticity. And the last one is stories. You want to make sure that you provide stories. And I put anyway, next quiz, and then I'll share it. Okay, so there are 4 different kinds of stories that you must add in your presentation, true or false. True or false. There are 4 stories that you must have in your presentation. And then tell me how many I did today. Okay, Jenny, that's an honest answer. Jenny's not sure. Victor says A. And anybody else want to give a stab at it? True, Colleen says. Okay, true. All right. Well, you're all very good because it is true. Oh, Sherry, sorry, Sherry. Yes, it is true. There are 4 different types of stories that you must have in your presentation. Now, I did 2 of them. Who can tell me what those 2 were? I did 2 tonight. Who can tell me? 2 of the 4 stories that you need to have. What did I share? All right, who can tell me? If you're not sure, just say you're not sure, and then I won't wait. All right, who can tell me? Who can tell me? All right, about Hector, right. A testimonial is one. Very good, Jenny, very good. Okay, perfect. Yes, and then what about the story? Right, your story. That's right. Yes, that's your professional story, and the Hector and Pete story were success stories. All right, but there's 2 more stories that you need. And I am going to share with you how you can get those 2 stories. I don't have time tonight, but there's 2 more that you must have in your presentation. And I'll be sharing them at my $1 Million Speaker Summit and teaching you how to be a mind-blowing storyteller as well. So for the past almost hour, I've been sharing with you how you can be a mind-blowing speaker. Now, again, you notice that the way you can be mind-blowing is what? Is loving on your audience, right? And giving them great content. It's not about technique, ladies and gentlemen. It's not about how, fast you move or how over the top your actions are. I don't know if you've been watching The Voice, but I love The Voice. And there's that one guy that was kind of a little over the top. I forgot his name, but he starts with an R, right? Just pushing it and way over the top. And he was getting praise for it. But this is The Voice, right? It was like, I couldn't even really get his voice or the power of it because he was so busy moving all around the stage. So it's better if you want to be that mind-blowing speaker. It's not about and running around like Jim Carrey. It is about being sincere. It's about naked authenticity, being real. It's about complimenting your audience and loving on them and showing them you love them by talking their language, by connecting with them, by inviting them to get more because they're hungry and you know that they're hungry. So it's about all that kind of thing. It's not about how much you jump around on stage. I'd rather you do all those things and add stories and stand in one spot and love from the heart than to do all the jumping around and running around, or loud language or techniques. Forget about that. Be you. It's about you being you and more being you. Now, what I teach people, though, is how to become you and not worry so much. That's why I teach people the structure on how to structure the speech so that you will get the proven results that you need to feel comfortable, to relax, and deliver you and your content in a persuasive manner. And that's what most speech coaches don't do. You see, you can't see the frame. You can't see the picture if you're in the frame, right? And so you need coaches and consultants like me to show you your greatness and how great of a speaker you are. And even turn some of that natural talent into a more structured talent. You're not going to be structured. I've never had anybody once in 15 years ever accuse one of my students of using the Arvee Robinson system. It just doesn't work because it's invisible. It's framework, but it's invisible. It's like, look at your house. Do you see the framework? Do you know if it's steel, metal, wood, or whatever? We don't know. We can't see it, but we see a beautiful house. And that's what people will see, a beautiful speaker and a beautiful message, and it'll touch their hearts and open it, and they will want more. So I'm going to show you, here's the gift, and then I'm going to show you how you can get more. Now, here's the free gift, and here's what I wanted to show you, and this is big. Okay, let me see. I got some chats. Okay, so Jenny says, is that you're saying you can't see the picture if you are in the frame? Yes, that's what I meant. You can't see the picture if you're in the frame. Yes, love it. I would love to use that quote well, I'll tell you, the quote came from Les Brown. So It's a Les Brown quote. If you can't see, and I messed it up, I apologize, but you can't see the picture if you're in the frame. Okay, so that's a Les Brown quote, so you can quote him on it. Another one is Alex Mendozian says, you can't see the label if you're in the jar, right? So that kind of thing. So the system will be invisible, and people will see the authentic and real you. All right, so here's my free gift for sticking around. I've just got a few more minutes. Actually, we're going to get done a little bit earlier, and that is create a postcard. And again, this free gift is so that you can get more speaking engagements and get more clients, all right, and change more lives. So you get a postcard. Now I'm going to grab one real quick. I'm going to just scoot over here so you can see it. All right, and this is what mine looks like. It's a really well done postcard. All right, so it's thick paper, and on one side is my information, and let me see, can you see that? On the other side is this information that you're seeing here on the screen. So you create one of your own. You put no more than 3 boxes. All right, it's too many for people. And if you see mine, I'm going to put it really close up. Okay, it has the name, email address, and phone number. That's all I ask for. And so from the stage, I just tell people if they want to be a better speaker, or if they want to explore how they can use speaking in their business, to fill out one of these cards with their name, address, and phone number, and click the box for a strategy session. That's what you're seeing here, a free strategy session. And here's the best part. Or if you know of any organization that is looking for speakers, let me know and check that box. Now you could have a third one. I happen to have a third one which says if you want to go to my next upcoming event, live event, let me know. So then rip the card in half, right? You keep this half, give me this half, and someone from my office will call you. This is $1 million action strategy that you can have your audience take that'll get you those hot leads, right? They already said, I want a 30-minute strategy session, and continue you as a speaker getting more speaking engagement. It works, it works, it works. I do it all of the time. All right, I got, let me see. Okay, yes, cool, Les Brown. What was on the other side they kept? What was on the other side of what? Oh, the other side, thank you, of the postcard. It's actually my contact information. I mean, it's got some of my branding on it, but it's my contact information, so that, and my website down at the bottom, and my email address, so that they have it. Because from the stage, you can't hand out business cards or something like that. So this way they have it. So just, you know, in case they need to call you or call you back about the strategy session, they've got your contact information. It shows ownership. You know, there's something about it when we rip something, there's some ownership in it. So then they tend to keep it and not throw it away. It's, I don't know, I'm not a psych, but I just know it works. All right, so that's that free strategy session for you. How cool is that? Say, that's cool. All right, put in there, that's cool. And we're going to go on to the next step now. And so this is part 1. I get it if you can't stick around for a few more minutes, probably about 10 more minutes. But I do want to invite you to participate in my next $1 Million Speaker Summit and learn the rest of the stories, learn the 3 speeches that you must have, learn how to become $1 million speaker, reach millions, and make millions. So if you're interested in that, stick with me for about 10 more minutes. All right, and here's what I want to share. Old habits die hard. I know a lot of us have, oh, I've got a couple Q&A before I get started. Let me do the Q&A. All right, so Jean says, wow, this is great. Got to get to training. I'm hostessing as a national leader event. Yes, and that's cool. And Jean's already coming. She's already going to be there at the Speaker Summit. Okay, Jean, got it. All right, that's cool. Thank you. All right, so old habits die hard. I know, you know, sometimes we get in our business routine and we're just very comfortable with doing what we're doing. But again, if you want to be mind-blowing, if you want to make millions, you've got to get out of your comfort zone, because everything that you want is out of your comfort zone, or you would already have it. Think about it. everything, and that's my quote, by the way, everything that you want is out of your comfort zone or you would already have it. Think about that one. So if public speaking is out of your comfort zone, then let's get comfortable, because that means that it's going to lead you to other things that you've been wanting, whether it's that new car, whether it's that new home, whether it's sending your children to college, whether it's just, 10xing your business or opening up a new business, whatever it is, I can guarantee you, this is the road. I always tell people this: think of yourself getting into a car. Speaking is a vehicle, and you could choose the vehicle. So you could get in a Maserati and go really fast. You can get yourself in a little bug and putt, whatever. But the destination is what you want at the end. Well, and that's success, right? It's ultimate success and changing lives for people. So with speaking, you can go as fast as you want or as slow as you want, but you've got to get trained. And the training is the gas that fuels the car. The training is the gas. So let me share with you where to get the gas. All right. So one thing I do know, that you do have $1 million message to share that only you can share. You need to reach millions with that message and stop being a secret, and you can create millions with that message. Now here's the truth about education. Education is learning what you didn't even know you didn't know. So some of you are sitting there thinking, well, I don't even know what I don't know about speaking, true. And some of you are thinking, well, I think I know pretty much about speaking. No, you don't even know what you don't know. Here's what most people know about public speaking. If you want to know what most people know, here's what they know. Look at this. What is that? What is that? It's a blank book, right? This is what they think they know, and they don't know anything unless they come and learn it from me. So even if you think you know, there's so much more for you to know, and so many, not only techniques, but so much for you to know. It's like when you buy a drill, you don't buy a drill for a drill, you buy a drill for the whole. But so many people, when they speak, they're talking about features and they're talking about their drill. No, people don't buy drills. They buy the whole that it makes, right? So this is what I'm offering you, is that whole. Is learn how to make that whole for people. Learn how to sell the benefits. Learn how to speak about the benefits and the whys that people need to do it. All right, so you'll be thrilled now that help is on the way. I've got a solution for you, and it's my $1 Million Speaker Summit that I've been talking about. It's right around the corner. It's 3 weeks away. So plenty of time for you to plan to get there, and plenty of time for you to psych up for it. Yet it's not so far away that it's like 3 months and you're going, why should I buy now, right? It's time. It's time to buy now. The time is now. All right? So it's in Irvine, June 7th, 8th, and 9th. That's a Thursday, Friday, Saturday. It's 3 days of public speaking training, advanced, right? In other words, it's not like just like how to walk and talk and vocal variety. I'm talking about, this is going to make you money. This is how you can use it for your business. This is how you can use it to raise funds for your not-for-profit. This is how you can use it to get your message out to the world. This is how you can use it to gain visibility. I mean, this is serious stuff, right? There's no tire kickers here. This is for high achievers and people that are really serious about helping people and growing their business at the same time. So it is in Irvine. And I'm just going to go through really quickly some of the things. We'd be here all night if I was to share with you. But I want to share this. I'm the only speaker. I'm the only trainer. There's 3 other speakers that are my students that are going to speak for 5 minutes or 15 minutes, right? Just to showcase themselves and showcase the power of my system, of the proven system. And I talk about it being a sandwich, but here's the system, all right? Here's my system, right? These are 2 parts of the sandwich. This is the middle. So it's not complicated. It just kind of looks complicated, but it's not like 1, 2, 3, beginning, middle, and end. See, that's what baffled me when I got in this business, is no one would tell you. They would all say, oh, have a beginning, middle, and end. But no one besides me would ever say what to put in it, right? How do you know what to put in it? Well, guess what? I teach you what to put in it. Anyway, so 3 of my students, and then 1 sponsor that's going to, that sponsored it on the last day is going to speak. And that's it. It's not a multi-speakathon. It's me training for 3 days. All right? 3 days. This is the third year I put this particular one on. So how to craft that $1 million message. That's where it starts. That's the first day. That's on Thursday. You know, that secret formula. Remember I said there's 3 speeches. Well, one of them, I'm going to give you a hint, is the elevator speech. And you have to, it's what I call the core. You've got to start that before you can start that signature talk. Otherwise it won't work. You're going to be lost. It's like trying to drive without direction. You've got to start there. You cannot start with your signature, with just a signature talk. Not even if you're not in business. You've got to start with that core message, that essence of what it is that you do. It's so important. And yes, you're going to learn the 3 speeches. The other 2, I just give you a hint that that's one of them. Speaker will. Oh man, that's so incredible. It's everything that you need to do and know as a speaker, to start your speech, from the topic all the way to speaker one sheets, to how to get the speaking engagements, you know, and how to get your speaking to run on autopilot, where you're having that speech every single week and just run without you having to start and stop. So it's just incredible what's on that speaker wheel. Yes, I developed the speaker wheel. And again, you just roll it down the track and get all the speaking engagements you can handle. And then this $1 million speaker introduction template. Do you know that your speaker introduction can make you or break you? It can make your speech or break your speech, especially if you leave it to chance or you leave it to somebody else. So I have a whole technique that I teach my speakers how to set it up for success, how to write your own introduction, because if you don't write it, then you're leaving it up to chance and somebody else is going to come and bring something that's going to be too big, bore your audience, or they're going to give your personal story away and something maybe that you were going to put in your presentation. So don't do that. Big mistake. I want you to be set up for success from the minute that introducer introduces you. All right? Secret to building trust and rapport with any audience. I gave you a few techniques, but I didn't give you the #1 secret. You will learn what that is. And you're going to learn the 4 stories. You know 2 of them, but there's 2 more. And they're even more powerful than the 2 that I shared with you. And so we got a total of over $4,000 of value just in one day. So if you were to hire me to just do storytelling with you, or just, you know, coach you on some of these other things, that's what we're talking about. That's the real value. All right, so day 2, how to attract high-paying clients and grow your business fast. This is all about how to use it to grow your business, how to get the speaking gigs. Without the speaking gigs, what are you going to do? How are you going to get those leads, the warm leads, the hot leads? How are you going to get those prospects? You've got to get out there and speak. Now, body language tells all, right? So not 85% of all language is body language. How your whole face, your animation, how you stand, everything. We're going to go through all of that, because you could be standing there talking, but if your body's saying something different, you're going to alienate your audience and lose the sale. How to speak persuasively and actually close the sale right there. I'm going to teach you 6 different closes, because remember, not all closes are equal or should be used for all the speeches. Then my secret formula for magnetic self-intro. So if you're doing if you're at a networking meeting and you can't speak, but you're going to stand up and introduce yourself, this is how you can become a magnet. Have somebody from across the room say, I want that. I want that, in just 30 seconds. And then you never have to worry about it. I see people struggle all the time when they stand up, whether it's a chamber meeting, a meetup meeting, any kind of networking meeting, and they struggle with what to say. And some of them have their phone in front of them. Some of them have paper in front of them. You know, it doesn't have to be that way. I have a formula that I teach people that'll be magnetic. You'll remember it, and you'll say it the same way every single time. Do you know you do not want, I'll give you a hint, you do not want to change up your elevator speech or your self-introduction every single meeting. You know what? No one heard it right the first time. It takes 7 times for someone to really get what you do when it's 30 seconds or less. So you need to be right on and say it all the time, the same way, with energy, with passion, with control, and be concise. And eventually, after, well, some might get it in 3 times, but 1 time, I know people change it up every single meeting. No. Never do that. All right. popular places to speak and those to avoid. Do you know there's some places that you should not go because they would badger you? They might, break your confidence, especially if you're a new speaker. So you're going to learn what those are, where to really go to speak, and where not to go. And how to host your own live events. Remember, I said that's really where the real transformation is, and it's even where the big money is. So if you want to take your business to the next level, or you want to 10x it, or you want to do something spectacular, and I don't just teach business owners. Remember, I taught pastors how to do what? Sermons, and I've taught professional speakers how to be better professional speakers and get more high-paying gigs. They're just a smaller group. The biggest group that I serve is business owners, coaches, and consultants like yourself. All right. I teach people that have a book, authors, how to sell their book from the stage, right? So all kinds of different types. All right. But also how to do your own live events. Real important. You got to get them into your room. That's day 2 is over $5,000. Now, day 1, one thing I didn't even share with you, and I'm going to share it later, but I'll share it now, is there's a lot of fun too. I have a meet and greet, a gala, a red carpet the first day. It's not even in here. This is just the training. All right. Now, before we go on to the third day, I just want to kind of tell you who this is for. It's for high achievers, rainmakers, movers and shakers, and legacy leavers, people that really want to make a difference, people that really want to grow their businesses. They want to serve others. It's for, the top salespeople. It's for people that just want to go further. It's not for tire kickers or bench warmers or looky-loos. And I don't attract those kind. And you're not those kind if you came here today. So it's not for those. You're not going to run into those, again, blood-sucking vampires that are just going to want to use you. These are for high-level people. All right. So this was last year. This is my audience. We're going to have the event in Irvine. So you see, it's intimate enough that you can meet people. So it's under 100 people. It's not a 400, 500, or 1,000 people event. It's just all rah-rah. This is a training. This is a workshop. And you're going to work, you're going to take notes like you see them doing, and you're going to learn something. And you're going to walk out of there with a lot of notes and a lot of lessons. So I had a couple options. I could go cheap as possible, even free, and try to get as many people, try to get 200, 300, 400 people in there. But the quality of the people just wouldn't be the same for me or for you. So I decided that, and it requires a little bit of an investment, but I decided that I would exchange a little bit of investment so I could devote those resources to your success. So I give out notebooks. I have break stations. I have coffee. I have the big gala on Thursday night. So I invest all the money that I'm getting as tuition, not into me and into the training for me, but back into you. All right. And as I know, if you don't have skin in the game, then you don't go, right? People don't go. So you'll meet a higher level quality people like yourself, right? That'll help you grow your business. You know what? I've seen best friends come out of my event. I've seen business relationships. I've seen partnerships. I've seen, people that put seminars on together. I mean, it's so exciting because like attracts like, and there's going to be a lot of like attracting like in the audience. So here's my red carpet gala Thursday evening. We are going to have it's not going to be outside. This was last year. It's going to be in a really cool place at the Hotel Irvine. And you can meet and greet people. We have a red carpet where here's my $1 million sign. Everybody gets a picture taken with me. I'm going to have a macaroni bar. Again, everything is free. You don't have to worry about it. And we just have a great time. Okay, and you can meet everybody. I wanted to do that the first night so that the next 2 days you already are bonded and you know people and you have people and friends you can meet with at break and go to lunch with and all that other great stuff that oftentimes you don't get to do till the last day. So I wanted to make sure it was the first day. All right, this is Angela, and we're almost done here, so bear with me. Angela spoke on my stage because this is all about association. And one of the people that were in my audience was a movie producer, heard her story and decided to produce her movie. Now, I'm not promising you a movie, but what I'm saying is I associate with some really cool people. So you never know who's going to be there or who's going to be in the audience. Only I know. So here's Angela. here's my friend, here's the director, I'm in the audience, and Angela's now a movie star. All right, so last day, and then we're going to end, and I'll tell you how to get it real quick. How to get your message out to the world and influence, how to get your message out and influence the world. That's huge. So if you are a game changer, a people changer, a life changer, the third day is going to wrap it all up into a nice ball for you. So how to become that change leader by using speaking. So it's a step up from just speaking to get business. It's speaking and being a leader and influence people to make change and change in the world, change in their lives. This is a life-saving technique. And how to make a difference with your message, secret formula to become that instant influencer, how to market yourself as that powerful leader. And the total of day 3 is $3,000. So if you put it all together, we're talking about over $12,000 of training, not to mention what you can do once you get out of that training. How do you put saving a life? I mean, you just can't even quantify that. But I have a couple bonuses. One bonus you're going to get for signing up is the Speaker Success Toolkit. It's going to come to you electronically. And in it are all kinds of scripts to get speaking engagement. It's templates on how to make your one sheet. Templates on how to do, let me just see, like when somebody gives you a speaking engagement, what do you do? What questions do you ask? How do you write it down? And scripts for getting speaking engagement. This is only available, besides right now, in my 4-day speaker training intensive, which is $4,000, just so you know. I only work with 10 people for $4,000. So this is the only place you'll get it here for free once you sign up. All right, and my speech introduction template. Remember I talked about how important that speech was. Now you get the template tonight, but I'm going to teach you in the training how to use it and how to set yourself up for success. And a 60-minute private video with me after the seminar is done, because I'm going to pull back the curtain and show you what I did at the seminar, how I did it, and then how you can do it too. Really invaluable training. So if all this event did was get you one client, would it be worth it? What would that one client be worth? 1,000, 5,000, 10, or would it be worth more? Like for Gail, it was worth 60,000 a month. How much would you pay to get a client? How much would you pay to make 60,000 a month? Right? And what if you changed one life? Whew, can't even put a number on that, but it's worth. I mean, it feels so good when you change lives, and when you change lives for a living and see it on the faces of your audience, there's nothing greater. There's no greater feeling on this planet. So you can see why my 3-day public speaking would be a good deal at $5,000. But because you're here, you're special, it's not going to be $5,000. Today, it is only $295. That's for 3 days. And again, it's an investment in yourself. It's all tax deductible. And I've got a couple more bonuses, so don't go away. You can today add a friend for free, but you can't tell anybody there. So you go to the website, $1 Million Speaker Summit, sign up, and then later, anytime in the next couple weeks, tell me who you're bringing for free. They get in for free. You can split the cost with them if you want. I don't care. It's a bonus. You're coming anyway. So just if you want to bring your husband, your wife, a good friend, or a client. Now, I have seen clients' deals sealed because they brought a client, and the clients are so impressed that they become a client or they continue to become a client. So think about who do you love that you would like to bless with a ticket. All right? So you have 2 options now. Like I had 2 options, now you had 2 options. You could do nothing and not take this leap of faith. And remember, everything that you want is outside your comfort zone, or you'd already have it. Take the leap of faith, pony up this small investment of $297, and compare to all the value that you're going to get. And again, $297 is less than $100 a day, right? We're not talking about a lot of money for training. And if it works, great. If not, all you have to do after the first day is ask for your money back, and you will get it, no questions asked, and we will still be friends, and you can still keep the bonuses, this bonus that I'm going to give you, and the next bonus, which you haven't seen yet. All right? So sign up today, and again, if for any reason you can't come, right? You can come for one day, and if you don't like it, get your money back. But also things change. So just sign up. If you find it doesn't fit in your schedule, then just call me. I don't care if it's 29 days and 23 hours and 59 minutes. If it's the day before, just tell me. I can't go. Look at this training will change your life. Your 297 will not change mine, to be honest with you, but it will change you. That's what I'm here for, to help you. So if you need it back, if you can't come, that's okay. It's not going to change my life one bit. So $1 Million Speaker Summit, go there now, sign up. As soon as I see the sign up, I will put you in a special category that's called Plus Friend. And I will contact you if I don't hear from you as far as who is your friend. All right. So that's guaranteed to have your friend. So is it worth gambling a little bit? Check it out. Check it out a little bit. If it's even half of what I claimed it is, when you come the first day, you've got nothing to lose. Right? It will pay for itself tenfold. All right. So here's what to do next. Here's some happy people from my last event. Sign up now, $1 Million Speaker Summit. And I have one more bonus for you. And that is a signed copy of my book. This book just came out. It's hot off the press. It took me many years to write it because I had to learn how to write because I'm a speaker, not a writer, but now I'm a writer. And it just came out December, and you will get a signed copy mailed to you even before you come to the summit. So it values for 25 bucks. So again, just added value, but a signed copy is invaluable. So there I have it. That's the best deal. Sign up. The price is going to go up to $497 in about a week. So again, the price of procrastination. So don't procrastinate. Sign up now. When I see the sign up, I will email you immediately with your electronic bonuses. I'm going to also give you this. All right, which is my speaker system and the speaker toolkit. This I never give anybody that hasn't gone to my 4-day training. So there you have it. I just want to gift you and bless you and have you come to the event. So that's all for now. Thank you. You've been a great audience. Best audience I've had all day. Thank you for sticking with me. And remember, if you can't say it, you can't sell it. Mwah. Goodbye, everyone. Bye. You can write bye. I'm going to stop my share now. All right. Oh, look at that sun. All right. Bye, everyone. Oh, and I have a puppy that's just starting to come up. Here's my puppy. Hey, baby. All right. Goodbye, everyone. Thank you for being here.